Are you looking to broaden your career opportunities? Future-proof your career with a bachelor's degree from the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. We've introduced new cutting-edge degree programs in Environmental Studies and Sustainability, Tourism and Hospitality, Business Administration, and Public Health. Online platforms are making it easier than ever before to further your education and mask your competitive advantage. This is the game changer you've been waiting for. Get the highest return on your investment in the ECS from the college you trust. Visit salcc.edu.lc. Apply today for September 2021.
Hello everyone, and welcome again to another informational hour with the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. It is a pleasure to be here. My name is Natalie Jolie Fanis and I'm the communications officer for the college, and every Tuesday we've been bringing you some very pertinent, relevant, important information coming out of the college to really service our community and our society. And as usual, I do have one of my colleagues from the college joining me this afternoon, but there's so much to tell you before we get around to speaking with our guest. There's a lot going on. A half year is here. It's June, and that means it is summertime, but the work continues. So where are we now at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College? Our application period for most of our programs have been opened, and we have been processing our applications for our associate degree programs and 2 of our bachelor degree programs, that is the Bachelor of Science in Nursing and the Bachelor of Education. And these programs, the applications are currently closed. However, applications are still open for our 4 new bachelor degree programs. That is our bachelors in tourism and hospitality, our bachelors in business administration and innovation, our bachelors in environmental studies and sustainability, and our bachelors in public health. So there is scope for everyone in terms of a program that you want to do right here at the tertiary level. So we are here to improve your skills. In addition, our summer program has also begun, and registration for most of our courses are now closed. We have our students who have repeat courses, but there are also several access courses that we offer for individuals who may not have the basic requirements that we ask to enter our associate degree and degree programs. So we have access courses in math, in English, in the foreign languages, and in the sciences as well. But in addition to that, there's some more exciting stuff that we are offering right now. Some short courses, do-it-yourself courses in tiling theory and practice, in plumbing theory and practice, in masonry, in painting and decorating. So if you are someone who loves to work in the house, who loves to improve your space, and you want to be the professional at it, Sir Arthur Lewis Community College is offering those short courses, and if you go to our social media pages, you will get more information on that. In addition, we offer basic car maintenance. Ladies who don't know how to change a tire, who need to learn how to change their oil, we offer those short courses as well, and they're offered on a Saturday, so you are able to access them. And we also, in this summer period, we're offering a project management basics, so that too you can access. And the start date for those courses is the 5th of June. So the plumbing and the tiling course, they run for 12 Saturdays, and the shorter seminars and cost only $600, and the shorter seminars cost $300. So if you go to our website or to our social media pages, you will get the email address for our professional and lifelong learning unit, and if you email them, they will walk you through the process of applying for those short courses. And in addition, don't forget, we also offer defensive driving. So if you are up to renew your license, it is now online, and we are even issuing digi certificates, so the process has become much more seamless and easy for you to access it. People have been just blown away by the easy way they're able to get their defensive driving certificate and get their license renewed. So all of that is happening at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. In addition to that, Last week we held for the second time our entrance exam, mainly for our fifth form students who are awaiting the SALCC results. So like I explained the last time I was here, it is important for us to start our semester at a particular time, and therefore with the delay that is happening unavoidably with the SALCC examinations, we offered our own entrance examination for individuals who did not have the requirement, particularly in math and English. So these are the two subjects that we offered, and it went on very, very well. And we must say a special thank you to the principals and staff of all of the secondary schools around the island who worked with us to ensure that the students registered, who allowed us to use their rooms, their classrooms, to facilitate the exam. So thank you to the principals and staff who worked with us. Thank you also to the Department of Education, particularly the Examination and Assessment Unit and the IT unit, for facilitating all the processing of the exam scripts, the marking. You know what you did. We're really thankful, because that way we assured quality and validity of our examination. And we also want to say thank you to the faculty and staff of the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, who themselves invigilated the exams, helped package the exams for all the secondary schools around the island, and ensured that everything went smoothly. So this is our second time. It's still a learning process for us, but I think there's much to be celebrated that we are able to make that step. So we'll talk a little more about why the entrance exam with my guests today, so you understand the need for it and all that went into the preparation and the validation of that exam. So these are more of our housekeeping, but there's something else exciting that's happening. The month of June is actually the month in which Sir Arthur Lewis passed. June 15th is that date, and this year the college will commemorate his passing with what we call a thought festival entitled Unthink, where we are going to memorialize and celebrate the work of Sir Arthur Lewis. So here's a little promo that you can join us later on June 15th. So we look forward to you joining us on June 15th. More details to come as to where you can view, but certainly on we will be streaming live on our Facebook pages, Critical Perspectives on Globalization and the Thoughts of Sir Arthur as it relates to so many issues that we are facing now. It's really thinking differently, new thinking, creative thinking about some of the issues that we are now facing: gender equity, climate change, sustainability, etc. So we will have a wide range of panelists from across the globe bearing in, sharing their opinions on these issues. And we will also be hosting a youth panel. So as we go along, there'll be more information. Stay tuned as usual to our social media pages and the website. And we definitely will be doing some more interviews on television. This morning our principal was right here talking about all of the new initiatives that he is pursuing just as part of the development of the college. So a lot of exciting stuff happening at the college, and this afternoon our guests will give us some needed perspective on where the college is heading with its new programming and the importance of the validation of the certificates and qualifications that we offer. So joining me this afternoon is Dr. Cathy James Springer. She is the manager of our Institutional Effectiveness and Transformation Unit or Office. And welcome, Dr. Springer.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Dr. Springer has been with us before, and she has delved into some of the issues that we are going to speak about again, but it is so critical and so important, particularly now that we are going into a new academic year with some new offerings. So Dr. Springer, I'd like you to start off by telling the public what it is your office is responsible for.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Fannis. It's nice to be back here again after a long period. Every Tuesday I'm happy to watch and see our staff engage and inform the public of what is going on in the college. As said before, my office is the Office of Institutional Effectiveness and Transformation, and this is a long, very long name. But the work of the office is quite a bit in trying to ensure quality assurance within our programming, within our college generally. So some of the functions of the office would include, as I said, program development, curriculum development. We're also looking at quality assurance. And when we speak of quality assurance, we're not only talking about our programming, but we are also talking about across the college in all our administrative systems, and as well as our academic systems. Why is that important? Because we always, at the forefront of our mind is our customer, our learners, and what it is that they are going to do at the college and how they can move forward within their life. Because a lot of people use these qualifications for big decisions in their life. So we do quality assurance. We also do institutional research, and actually for the past year and a half, the results of some of that research has actually guided some of the decisions that we've made at the college. And so this is extremely important. We've basically surveyed and spoken to faculty, students. We're even in the preparation for doing something with our stakeholders, because again, the college needs to meet the needs of the external people that we deal with. So we are in process of actually developing something so that we can engage with our stakeholders and get a sense of what it is the expectation of the college is. We also are looking at, and that is part of the transformation process, information management within the college, how we can use our information and our data very well. And I most of the time I come here, I don't really talk about the transformation aspect.
I was actually writing that down, that if you didn't deal with it, right, that you'd have to address what are we transforming into.
Right. So I think if people have been following the college, they would know that the plan is to convert South Louis Community College into a university. Now, when we first started the process many years ago, people were like, but you all have done this, and how many years have passed and nothing has happened, but we're not seeing anything. But what is happening is that converting to a university is quite a long process. And so in the background, what we've been doing is actually fixing up South Louis Community College for that big leap into the university. So the part of this office is to actually lead that transformation process. And all the things that I've mentioned before are actually part of what we need to establish that university eventually. And hopefully soon, because we've really made some big strides and changes, particularly in the last year or so. So we're basically trying to shape up ourselves and fix ourselves for that big launch into South Louis University eventually, whatever it's called at that particular point in time.
So let me just take you back in history. Interestingly, just last week, I had reason to call Miss Martha Peer, who was the first registrar of the South Louis Community College, and it was such a pleasure speaking with her and hearing about her journey of being taken out as district education officer, I think with Leighton Thomas, and saying, here, start this college, bring all of those entities together. So since 1985, the college was established and moved towards not just certificate programs, and there were already what was at that time Cambridge A-level program coming together now to really start to offer its own programs. And I think there's a disjoint there where people don't understand that the college actually for many years has been offering its own programs written by its own faculty. Can you just give us a bit of a walk through that so there's better understanding of that journey?
Okay, that as I said, is the journey of the college, and that is the journey of life, I think. If you look at life, as things come along, we change and we adapt. So this is basically what was happening with the college. And as you said, I mean, when we went to South Louis Community College, we did A-levels. And then just before I went off to study, we converted to CAPE, which is the Caribbean version of A-levels. And so the college has been striving towards actually establishing its own. We do some partnerships with other organizations, particularly UWIP, quite a few people have passed through, but to meet the needs of St. Lucian and St. Lucian society, we have developed programs that are our own. And I have to commend our faculty definitely for actually being part of that whole process, developing the programs, writing a lot of the programs, and delivering the programs. And our students can attest to what it is that they can do with these particular qualifications. So in the past, we've talked about conversion of our ADs. I think we have gone through the process, and we are in the process of actually converting the last set of what we call legacy associate degrees, so that as we grow, we understand, we benchmark, we see what others do internationally, and we want to match that. And in fact, we want to be better than that. And so this is the process that we have been going throughout the years. Since I joined this office, as a matter of fact, this is what we've been doing. We have been moving towards converting all our programming. The other thing that we always want to look at is the relevance of that programming to the Caribbean and to St. Lucia. And that is what is unique to us. What is relevant to the Caribbean and what is relevant to St. Lucia. And we talk about the graduate attributes, where it is, what we want the students to look like at the end of the day. And one of our attributes speaks to that idea of being St. Lucian and understanding that context in which we live. So a lot of the programming that we have been converting we always have that in mind. What is the overall philosophy? What is the rationale for that programming? And as I said, our faculty, our administration has been very supportive in moving us that much forward into getting in there. I know we've been advertising for the Bachelor's Degrees, and this is the point. I mean, we were very proud when we launched it. This is the point that we have reached. This is stuff that was in the making, and I can say for at least 10 years for some of them. They were in the making. It was conceptualized. So now we are in the process of implementing. So as I said before, we are in a process of getting there. And so a lot of the things that people see us doing is so that we get to that point where we are able to do that conversion that we need to do. So our 4 bachelor's degrees, which would be in business administration, which is one of our most one of the most subscribed programs that we have. Before you jump into the bachelor's degrees, Dr. Springer, you were talking a little bit about the revision or the conversion of our current associate degrees to better reflect the needs of the society. There's a school of thought that says that as a community college, all we should offer are certificates and associate degrees. And I know that we are governed by an act. Is there anything based on the research that your office has been doing that speaks to us being restricted or not being able to offer the next level of certification? No, the South Louis Community College Act has no limitations. The college is able to offer any level of certification that we deem necessary, particularly for St. Lucian society. What the Act does speak to is the sort of disciplines and areas in which we can offer our programming, and these fall right in there. If people look up definitions of community colleges, as with everything else, some of these things are fluid. You will note that one of the main mandates of most community colleges is to serve the welfare of the community in which they sit. And that would mean thinking about what the workforce requires, what their stakeholders require, and that is what we are doing at South Louis Community College, essentially looking at what is needed and developing programming in relation to that. But in terms of our act or Sir Arthur Lewis as a community college, this is not something that is limited in any way. And as I said, we began by offering the bachelor's in nursing. If we can offer a bachelor's in nursing, why can't we offer a bachelor's in any other discipline that we feel?
And I think the bachelor's in nursing is probably a good benchmark of the requirement. So in the past, the associate degree was the standard for what we call the RNs, the registered nurses. But from what I understand, that has changed and the requirement is now the bachelor's of science, right?
That is right.
Okay.
So generally, the entry level requirement into the profession, that's the word, into the profession is a bachelor's degree. So if Sir Arthur Lewis did not convert into a bachelor's degree in nursing, essentially we would be behind in terms of meeting that qualification. In fact, we were behind for quite a bit of time in terms of people attaining that qualification within St. Lucia. And I mean, when you really look at it, nursing is one of the sought-out degrees. And I'm not talking about only on a local level, but worldwide, nursing is something that is a degree that is sought out. And if we had remained offering that AD, we really would have been behind. It's similar for a bachelor's in education. That is what we are working towards as the entry requirements into the system. And if Sir Arthur remains at doing an AD, then we will be doing our people a disservice, essentially.
So you're saying the moves that we're making is in direct response to the needs of the society?
Definitely.
Okay. And I know the Ministry of Education was particularly instrumental in us upgrading from the associate degree in teaching to the bachelor's as the entry requirement. So we are responding to the needs. We will get into the new bachelor's in a while, but as you speak to us benchmarking, understanding the standards, I spoke earlier in my introduction of us instituting an entrance exam for the CSEC our CSEC students coming in who do not yet have the qualification. And I know your office had at least some involvement in the preparation. Can you just explain why it was needed and a little bit about the process that we went through in terms of designing that exam?
Okay. Initially, the entrance exam was something that we offered last year in response to the whole situation with COVID and the sort of uncertainty as to what CXC was going to do with the examinations. And of course, it was the first time that we had done it, so we kind of moved through as best possible. So this year we made a concerted effort we're facing a similar situation really, because CSEC is late again. And I think a lot of parents are concerned as to what is this that's going to happen to their students if CSEC is late. And we would like to start our semester in good time so that the students have enough time to do the necessary learning. And so we decided to administer the entrance examination again. We at Sir Arthur look at the entrance examination as a high-stakes examination. And because we look at it as a high-stakes examination, we went through the necessary quality assurance review of the two examinations, the English and the mathematics, with external reviewers, both internal and external reviewers of the paper. The competencies were guided by what it is that students would do at that level beyond once they've gone through that process of high school. So a lot of the competencies that were developed, and I have to say a lot of it was developed by our faculty and our staff in looking at the papers. So because we consider it a high stakes exam, we went through that quality assurance process for the examination as much as possible, so that the students would have, having done the examination, they would have a sort of an equivalent understanding of what it is that they need to do to get into college.
Okay. So it really meets what the requirement is for entry.
Definitely. It's not a watered down version of anything. It really is what you need to get into a college.
Okay. And the results will be processed. I think I didn't mention that at the beginning, and as part of the application process. And I'm thinking, Dr. Springer, in response though to those results, the college may have to think possibly, because at other universities there are entrance exams. It's not unusual, and depending on the grade you are placed into different levels programs. Is there a possibility of the college looking at students who may not have met the pass mark in terms of what we can do to guide them still through our programs?
Okay, I'll go back to last year again because so many things happened. We did establish a unit that is called a PreCollege Unit, and they deal with students who don't meet the normal matriculation requirement for entry into the college. So you mentioned this when you were talking about the offerings we have in the summer in terms of those access of pre-college courses that the students can do in order to eventually go through to the college to do college level work. That would be a better way of saying it. And so in this sort of flexible, sort of uncertain environment, of course it is necessary for the college to think of how we can accommodate our students that are coming into the programs that we offer at the college. So I suppose this would be on a sort of individual basis. We look at what it is, how the students did in the exam, and how it is that the student can be placed within the structure of the associate degree or the college itself.
Great. And on that positive note of the different pathways that we are creating, we are due for a break. Please stay with us. When we come back, we talk about our new offerings and a lot more. Stay tuned.
The future is ever-changing. Communities, jobs, and economies are continually being transformed. This is why we need incredible minds to connect problems with innovative solutions, to disrupt and create new industries, to enable businesses to think sustainably, to shape evidence-based leaders and the next generation of visionaries. SALCC helps you to shape your career. Your passion is calling. Your future is standing by. Tap into your potential. Virtual and on-site classes, dedicated faculty, diverse student experiences, and highly recognized programs. So Arthur Lewis Community College. Apply today and fast-track your career.
Thank you for staying with us. This is the SALCC Informational Hour, and we are here to talk all things happening at our Loan Tertiary Institution online and what we are doing to serve the needs of the community. My name is Natalie Julie Fannis, and with me today is the manager of our Institutional Effectiveness and Transformation Office, Dr. Cathy James Springer, and she has been walking us through the process of revamping, converting many of our programs and even improving them, and also offering new programs that meet the requirements or the needs of the society in terms of entering into professions. So before we get into some of the new programs that I really want to talk about why they are so necessary, I want to go back to something that Dr. Springer spoke about in terms of what she called the graduate attributes and ensuring that our graduates are St. Lucian. And some of the specific courses that have been introduced into the new associate degrees that really meet those needs.
Okay. Within our programming, it was important, and when we were doing the development of our new programming, one of the things that happened is that we did a lot of stakeholder consultations, and in that stakeholder consultations, certain things came out that we thought necessary, that people thought were necessary to add into our programming. And some of them included that, as I spoke about, that idea of understanding heritage and where we come from and what's St. Lucianness. The other thing that came up was that our students don't know much about ethics, ethical practice, and those sorts of things. And so we thought that introducing some of these as a must into the program is quite essential. So the students, all students who are doing the associate degree do a course that is called a Survey of St. Lucian History and Heritage. And what that course actually looks at is the history, moves from the history of St. Lucia all the way to looking at those personalities in St. Lucia. So one of the assignments the students have is actually looking at buildings or structures that have people's names. I'm sure all of us are in that guilty. I'm guilty of this. the name of a building and I don't know who the person is. So one of the assignments is actually for the students to go research and find out who that person is and come up with some kind of information about that person. We also thought that understanding ethical values was important. So we developed a course that allows students in every program, there's some version of it or another, where the students are required to look at ethical values, moral values, and those sort of things in there. And strangely enough, as we've introduced our whole rebranding, we are looking at things like sustainability, entrepreneurship, innovation. So we are also introducing those courses into the programming. So our students get a sense of this idea of sustainability, entrepreneurship, innovation within the programming that they are doing as well. So every time we get some feedback, we try to accommodate within the curriculum to allow our students, if it's the word is world people, to be able to adjust to the world that they are going to live in. And also, if everybody recognizes that we need knowledge of we need digital literacy, we need to be able to understand that world we live in where everything is online and everything is about technology. And so we're introducing some courses which looks at that, and one of them is You and Your Digital World, where the students kind of do some they do some reflection on what it is that they do in the world, what it is that they do in that environment. And they're introduced to to digital literacy and understanding things like cybersecurity, what you do when you're online. We know that's a problem for all of us in terms of understanding security online. So the students actually, they do that. The other thing that they do, and I think this assignment is an extremely important assignment, is actually evaluate somebody else's profile. And the reason why we ask the students to do that is so that they can kind of think about what it is that they do online. So they do some evaluation of other people's profiles. They look at good profiles, they look at bad profiles. Because I mean, really and truly, you cannot not be online at this point in time. And it's better to be doing proper online work than to be in a whole mess online. A lot of people are in a mess online.
Definitely. I suspect that's one of the courses we probably need to extend to the community. Yes. It should not just be for our current crop of students, but yeah, I did when we were introducing it, it's almost like the pilot, and it's like there's so much that you don't know happens online.
That's right.
That you take for granted. So it might be one of those that the college should consider offering to the wider community.
Yeah.
So as we speak, let's segue a bit, because we're still speaking about meeting the needs of the society. We've looked at two of our established degrees in terms of the Bachelor of Science in Nursing and the Bachelor of Education as now entry requirements for these particular professions. Tell us the rationale or the thinking behind the introduction of the other 4 new bachelor degrees.
Okay, so we did, we keep saying about the needs in society. I mean, COVID can give us a lot of lessons in terms of how people perceive scientific information, how people perceive what is going on in terms of how diseases spread and that sort of a thing. So when we were looking at in our development, we always look at the needs, what stakeholders are demanding, and public health was one of them. We thought that people need to be aware and people need to understand what it is that goes on within the society and health, and what it is. I mean, honestly, COVID is public health in action, and that's how I think about it. It's public health in action. We see a lot of the concepts actually being laid out. Even when CMO comes and she speaks, we see a lot of those concepts actually being laid out in the society. So this is one of the things that we are looking at. As I said, some of the programming, they were in the works from many years ago, and right now what we are doing is implementing it. Business is one of our most subscribed programs on the campus, and we only offer an associate degree. So obviously business would have been one of the first sort of bachelor's degrees that we developed on our own. Tourism and hospitality is also a very well subscribed program in for us. and we recognize the need to increase the qualification within the society so that people work at higher levels in the hotel industry, in the hospitality industry. So these two were in the making for many, many years. I won't say how many years, because, but they were in the making for many years. The environmental studies and sustainability, remember I said, our tagline is include sustainability. And so this program is, I believe, one of the most unique programs that we would have on offer, where we're looking at people that sort of understand the idea of the environment, what is happening with the environment, and also people who are able to develop policy and actually advocate for that sustainability that we speak about all the time. So the 4 programs really, and I'm very excited about them, as if anything, I'm always excited about things. Because what it does, particularly the public health looks at, its focus is not only about public health itself, but looking at health throughout the lifespan of the person. So there are courses that look at youth and public health, the aged in public health. Also, we have courses that look at the impacts of climate change on health as well. So the program itself is a very well-rounded program in terms of people getting experiences in different areas. With the sustainability, that one as well, the students will touch on many areas that kind of speak to sustainability. So one of the things we have to think about, and I mean as a society we have to think about that as well, in terms of transportation. How do we get around? In a lot of those metropolitan countries, bicycles are a norm on the road, people moving around and trying to reduce their carbon footprint. So there are courses that will speak to that, the environment, looking at the human impacts on the environment, very important, because sometimes we do things and we don't think about it. You see, you ride in your car and you see somebody just throwing a plastic bottle out of the minivan. So all these things, we have to think of our impact, our footsteps, what prints we leave. And so the sustainability program is a broad program that kind of looks at all those things. It looks at policy development with regard to sustainability and all those other areas that we are looking at. In all of the programs, we aim to develop leaders. And so there's something that gets people to do that leadership. And in all programs at Arthur Lewis Community College, we look at the application within the practicums. And so all of the programs, all of the new bachelor's degree have a sort of an internship, a capstone experience that students are going to be exposed to real life situations and real life things happening and try to find solutions for those things.
Okay, let's speak a little bit about access now, since we are so focused on serving the community. So up until 2020, we were totally face-to-face, and most of our programs were full-time in the sense of daytime programs. How has that changed with the introduction of these new bachelor's degrees in terms of serving the society?
Okay, because of COVID, the college basically jumped online. Now, that's the only description I get. We jumped online, and I dare say that we've been doing quite well in the online environment. From all feedback from students, we've been doing quite well. And so the idea is not to go back totally to face-to-face. That cannot happen. And so in these, particularly in these new programs, we are looking at that online delivery being part and parcel on it. And a lot of people who are inquiring about those bachelor's degrees are asking about, is it going to be part-time? Is it going to be in the evening? Can I access it? And that's the beauty of online. It can be scheduled. It could be scheduled in the evenings. It could be scheduled in the mornings in terms of the live sessions. But also because a lot of our programming, a lot of the courses, the live sessions are recorded, you also have the option of going back and looking. That sort of flexibility exists within the online environment. And I dare say it also opens up a whole new world in terms of the types of people, the people who will access these programs, people who are mature, people who bring a certain amount of experience and maturity into the program. And I think it will be good for our students, our day students, if you say, they say, because I think diversity within the classroom improves on the learning experience that people have. In other words, you can draw from other people's experiences, you could learn from other people's experiences. And I think that new environment will provide that impetus that we have sort of a dynamic environment for learning, teaching and learning within the college. So anybody who wants to apply, have no worries. We're looking at trying to increase our flexibility of programming as we go along.
There's I think a preconceived notion of what part-time and full-time in St. Lucia, in the St. Lucian context, means in education, and I know it is different, particularly as we're looking at credit hours. So if you could give a little explanation of, it's not daytime and nighttime.
No, it's not. It's strange enough, somebody came to ask me that last week, and I said I think we need to really get it out there, an understanding of what full-time means. A full-time student means that you are taking upwards of 15 credits within the semester. So that would equivalent to about 5 courses per semester, and some people may take 6. So that student is characterized as a full-time student based on the number of credits they are carrying for the semester. SAFA has always had the part-time students having between about 9 to 10 credits enrolled in there. So usually a part-time student is carrying less credit hours than a full-time student, and that is the universal definition for part-time and full-time. It's not when you're talking about if it's delivered in the evening or not. And higher education models really speak to that flexibility and having people access courses whatever time it is. And honestly, the world has opened up so much these days, and you always have to be thinking of the time zones and all those sorts of things that come in there. So limiting our thinking to this that gray area of maybe about 8 to 5, I think we're losing out. And so the college is heavily considering that well, we're doing it already. We're teaching beyond those regular hours so that people have access to a lot of the programming that we're doing. And
I'm thinking that the whole option of accessing a course and being self-paced in the course is something apart from the lives, which is a good thing, but that people can actually access courses and access their assignments and complete it in that period of time. That is also a component of the online, right?
That's right. We, as with anything, we strive for standardization of a lot of everything within the college. And when we moved online, we immediately moved into standardizing what the student sees when they enter our courses. And we have a sort of a standardized setup in terms of the content that exists on the page, the assessments that the students have to do, and the activities that the students have to do as well. So it's not only that the students should be attending those live sessions, the students should have the other content support within the environment of the course itself. So you may go in, you missed the live session, but some of the content is there. The readings that you may need are on the page, and you can actually utilize it in your own time. And that's particularly for working people. I mean, I've done online working, and it's really difficult to try to catch the live sessions a lot of the time. And in that, within the course itself, you have access to the lecturer. If you missed the session, you went through it, you have a question, you can use a forum or those sorts of things to access your lecturer to ask questions that you may have missed in there. So within the online environment itself, it opens up that idea, particularly for mature working students, that flexibility that you could do. I don't want to call it self-study, but you could do a lot of your work. And that is, I mean, when you look at adult learning theory, that is part of it. Definitely. When in adult learning theory, adults tend to, they want to do the thing at their own time in a sense, and not necessarily be controlled by the environment that they are in. So this is very important as we think about it. So we understand that South Louis Community College has a mix of people. We have adolescent learners and we have adult learners. And so when we work with that in mind in terms of development of our programming and our courses.
So you spoke to your department being responsible for research, and you also said that there are a number of surveys. as it regards the move, the jump, the leap, as you put it, to the online platform, what has been the response of the students to that platform, and how do you think, what do you think the college will do to even facilitate that even greater, so that, because I know it was a bit of an orientation for those students to get. So can you speak to the responses that you've received from your evaluations?
Okay, so we did an evaluation. We've done several evaluations actually with the students regarding their online experience. So far we haven't gotten, I mean, a lot of the time when people quote, they say the students don't have these. Yes, there are students that don't have devices. Yes, there are students that are having difficulty with the environment, but we didn't get an overwhelming majority. A lot of the students seem to have adjusted well enough and done what it is they needed to do to get to the end of the semester. As I indicated, there are anomalies. We are in the process within the department of actually doing focus groups with the students, because you know you could do the quantitative, but you get a lot of information within the qualitative. So we are actually doing some focus groups with the students. And again, we haven't gotten overwhelmingly negative responses from the students. We do understand that our general base is students coming out of secondary schools, and the students have a particular profile. And so it is important for us to understand that the face-to-face is important for a lot of students. I mean, we've gone through some conversations. Yesterday I was saying that the student was like, miss face-to-face, miss face-to-face. And so we have to understand that there are variations in how people learn. And so what we are looking at is trying to see if, as come September, we do a sort of a blended approach as the students, allow some of the students to come in. Because we've already had the people doing the workshops and the sciences coming in, and they're a little better because they get to see, especially the year ones, they get to see their classmates and stuff like that. So they're okay with that. But the other students, I think for September, we're looking at how we could do a sort of a blended entry. Not everything will come back on campus, because COVID remains unpredictable, but we're looking at that. The other thing we're looking at is connectivity on the campus, because you'd appreciate that if a student comes in, let's say I come in and I do my lab this morning, I may have a class at 10 o'clock. And it will be difficult for me to get home in time for that lab. So we're looking at those spaces that the students can have, so that they are able to actually use and do their online work on the campus.
Great. So that seems like a lot your department is doing.
Oh, that one is not my department. Let's say.
But you're overseeing. So anything new? Any new initiatives coming out of your department in terms of plans for the future, Sir Arthur Lewis?
Well, let's just say if you change one thing and you put it into the digital world, it means that you're probably going to have to make some changes along the way with your processes and procedures. And so that's all I'm saying about that. Yes. So basically, given that we've gone online, we've taken a lot of our systems online. So what we are really trying to do now is to streamline everything so that everything works seamlessly along the way. So so this is one of the things we are looking at. In terms of the college, and I heard you said the principal was on this morning, so I know he probably talked about all those initiatives that we have going on. There's quite a bit going on, and again, a lot of it comes down to requests that we have gotten in terms of our stakeholders and how they can see Sir Arthur Lewis kind of meeting the needs of their needs, basically. And so there are a lot of projects and stuff that are coming on stream, which I cannot do.
But we hear you very loudly. Quality assurance is so important at this level, and we have a dedicated unit for that. How large is your unit, Dr.
I have to say thank you. There are 7 of us, 7 women strong. I have to say so. Sometimes when given a task, we think it's kind of impossible, but for some reason we overcome it and we do what is necessary, because it's a Herculean task. But we are committed to doing what we need to do to get the college moving and organized in that sense. We're all proud of what SAFA has achieved, and we want to make sure that in the future, SAFA it can stand solid.
So thank you so much for the commitment of your department to the quality assurance and to ensuring that the qualifications that we dish out as a national tertiary institution can stand the test of time, as it has been for the last 35 years that the college has been around. Thank you so much for staying with us. This has been another edition of the SALCC informational session. We will be back here next Tuesday to talk a little bit more about Unthink and to introduce you to some of our very important support services that exist at the college. It's not just all academics. So stay tuned, visit our social media pages, keep in touch. We have some universities who are making presentations right now, giving students various options and pathways. So visit our website and our social media pages, and we'll see you back here next Tuesday at 3 p.m. Continue to stay safe. It's the start of the hurricane season, so do what you need to do. Be prepared. Thank you so much.
Are you looking to broaden your career opportunities? Future-proof your career with a bachelor's degree from the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. We've introduced new cutting-edge degree programs in Environmental Studies and Sustainability, Tourism and Hospitality, Business Administration, and Public Health. Online platforms are making it easier than ever before to further your education and mask your competitive advantage. This is the game changer you've been waiting for. Get the highest return on your investment in your ECS from the college you trust. Visit salcc.edu.lc. Apply today for September 2021.